The Game Time, live from the finals. So much to get into. So much to absorb.
My phone, if I had text more people about what happened at the end of that game, man.
Whew. Kenny, Zeke, Grant, I'm Matt. Where do you want to start? I feel like we have to start with the J.R. Smith play because it's just one of the great blunders in finals history.
I think you got to start with was it an offensive foul on or a charge block on LeBron?
Well, you can backtrack on that as well.
That's
a reviewed
the call
play
of the game right there.
And Kevin Durant would hit 2 free throws to tie the game up at 104 apiece.
I'm still not sure how you can change that call from a charge to a block.
Well, they reviewed it to see whether he was in the restricted area.
And he was not.
That is a trigger.
And he was not in the restricted.
But that allows them to change the call.
Really?
I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's the way it works.
Is that – wow. So if you look at any – is that just at the end of the game, or is that at any point in the game?
Because then if that's the case, then you could change some out-of-bounds calls that have been happening.
Like when Kevin Durant stepped out of bounds.
You can't review all those. I don't make the rules.
I'm just saying that there's a lot of missed calls that happen.
Sure.
Right? A lot of questionable calls from the officials, and those did have a big impact on the game.
No doubt.
Now the missed free throw and the J.R. Smith not knowing, time and score, that had its effect also. But when you look at this, I mean, whether it's a block or charge, we don't know, okay? But they call clearly underneath the basket. You see the official. He calls a charge.
He calls a charge.
So now the question is, do you review it to see if he's in the restricted area?
Right.
Okay? Now, that should, from my understanding, that's the only thing that you can review if he's in the restricted area or not. You cannot change the call and change it to a block.
That's what I would think as well. I've never seen that before. I might not know the exact rules.
Yeah.
But I've never seen that.
It doesn't happen often, but it happens.
You can actually change your decision making.
If the trigger is the restricted area, yes,
wow.
It gives them a chance to review it. Now on balance, I think they got the call right. Ultimately, I thought it was wrong when they called it a charge initially live because it appeared that LeBron was still moving and hadn't established position when Durant got there. But that's a different question.
Yeah.
And look, obviously we're not as well versed on these rules, but I do think that's probably something that needs to be looked at. Because once they make a call, I get the whole idea of a trigger, but you shouldn't be able to change that call.
Because then I could look and see if it was a goaltending when I called the charge.
Because once you start doing that, you should do it for every call.
Oh, wait, did he walk before he charged?
Well, they do have limits what they can review, but I get your point. I don't necessarily agree that they should be allowed to do it either.
There have been times throughout the league, throughout this season, where we have seen them go review out-of-bounds calls, right?
Yes.
And during that out-of-bounds play, there is a foul committed.
They can't change that.
And they can't call the foul.
Correct.
But they
change that.
But they can change it here.
Yes.
That's the same decision.
It's the same thing.
Right. It's the exact same thing with a different rule. And it's selective changing rulers. Like you know what it sounds like? It sounds like my auntie when I used to stay at my house. Like only certain things. Oh, you can't touch that today. Wait, but yesterday I touched it.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't touch that today?
We will speak to Joe Borgia, the head of officiating.
Joe, you better be good tonight, baby.
At some point during our post-game coverage. Which thing would you like to get into? The J.R. Smith mistake. Missing a free throw is not good, obviously. It's a mistake, but it's not a mental mistake. It's a physical mistake. The J.R. Smith play is inexcusable.
It is. It's inexcusable. And look, the first free throw was made. You're supposed to understand what's happening, particularly at the end of the game. It's about executing down the stretch, as you said, time and score, being aware. And he did a great job. Got an offensive rebound, gave his team an opportunity. Could have put it back up at the basket, could have gone out, maybe taken a shot himself. LeBron James was open at the top. Just made a kind of a mental meltdown right there. And we all kind of knew in the green room that after that play, Cleveland probably missed their chance to steal this game.
Absolutely.
And not to put it all on J.R. Smith, because I will say this. George Hill was at the free throw line. Could have won the game, at least gone up one.
That's a physical error.
That was a physical error. I also think why was George Hill on the line? There was a misread or a particular play. Golden State didn't play right. He took it to the basket, got fouled. In that situation, I know he got to the line, an opportunity. I still want the ball in LeBron James' hands. And so executing down the stretch on the road in the finals, particularly winning time, Cleveland just failed. And I hate to put it on J.R. Smith, but he didn't do a good job.
So George Hill got to the line on a backdoor cut.
Right, and Klay Thompson just grabbed him.
And Klay grabbed him.
Yeah.
That's how he got to the line. But, everything else that you're talking about is absolutely right in terms of, this was Cleveland's one chance. I thought that this was their opportunity to steal game one. And they came out and they did everything right to win game one, with the exception of making a free throw, right? And then we get a couple of missed calls. JR's situation, you always got to know time and score. So that will go down as a blunder, okay? But still, this was their opportunity. My fear now for Cleveland is, after these mistakes, can they emotionally regroup, come back, and play a game two and stay in this series? Because you got George Hill, right, who's missed a free throw. Emotionally, can he come back? You got J.R. Smith, who's made a big blunder. Emotionally, can he come back? And then you got a LeBron James who just had the performance of his life. Is he going back to his hotel room saying, man, what do I have to do to win a basketball game? I look at this Cleveland team right now, and, I'm a little worried about, them emotionally.
You saw LeBron's reaction after J.R. Smith held the ball, and he looked at him as if to say, what are you doing?
No,
It's the NBA Finals.
No, well,
he may have said that exactly. Let's take you through some of the key plays down the stretch, shoving the ball.
Oh, no.
Or the,
when he shot the elbow to Livingston.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You let that go, and you tell him, and he gets a $25,000 fine.
Could have done, yeah.
He gives him a $25,000 fine.
The emotions of the game had got so out of control at that point in time. There's 2 seconds to go. One team's up 8.
Game's over.
Game's over for all intents and purposes. And what the official's job now is to make sure you get the players off the floor. You don't prolong the game, throw somebody out in this type of situation.
Possibly get suspended.
And now you got the scrum in the middle of the floor. I mean, in my opinion, the official basically caused all that with the whistle in the ejection. Sometimes in these situations, you do have to swallow the whistle.
Right. That was Tony Brothers who made that call. And again, we'll hear from Joe Borgia from Secaucus during our post-game coverage. A couple other things to keep an eye on here in terms of moving forward to Game 2 on Sunday. What happens with regard to Thompson with that shove of the ball at Draymond Green, which could be construed as a punch or a slap or something? And secondly, what happens to Klay Thompson physically? He was kind of limping around toward the end of that game after leaving early on with what they called a left lateral leg contusion, which, by the way, is the same diagnosis that's kept Andre Iguodala out the last few games. But these are two things to watch for come Game 2 on Sunday.
The two areas of concern for both teams. Thompson's so important. What are the rules going to say? What are the league going to say? Are they going to suspend him, fine him? I don't think they should suspend him. Maybe a fine there in terms of being tossed and then getting involved in something on the court, a slight altercation. But the Klay Thompson thing, how he feels tomorrow when he gets up, we'll know it. Hopefully he'll know and the team will know. But knowing, usually when you have a fall like that and you have a situation, you're still playing off of adrenaline. You're still loose and lathered up. But it's waking up that next day. As we all know, when you have an injury, that next day, that's always that test. How does it feel? How does my body respond? Obviously, they checked him out. He came back in. He played a lot of minutes, had some big shots. But it's going to be important for him to be healthy, and they dodged a bullet because if he went out, it's a tougher series now without Klay Thompson on both ends of the floor. Hopefully he'll be back.
Yeah, I think the other thing about, that 100% on Klay, but on Tristan, he really was going to be in review because he was involved in both plays. He was involved in the elbow.
Good point.
And he was involved in the shove in the face.
Right.
So that could cause, you're the only one who's really starting everything. So that could cause the suspension. If he was only involved in one, he would have got, I think he would clear free.
Now, Kenny, was the elbow, where did the elbow hit?
It was thrown. It was thrown.
Okay, the elbow was thrown. Yeah, it definitely was thrown. Okay, did it connect head? Did it connect chest?
Okay. Wait, well,
I'm just saying.
I'm talking to a Detroit Piston fan.
No. And
so
you're talking about being the coach of the Pistons, so you better straighten up, brother.
That was nothing. That was nothing. We didn't let it go.
No. So here's my point, right? My point is this. Okay, did the elbow make contact? Did it connect? Okay, did it connect?
It was a message sender.
Did it
That's
connect
all it
to
was.
the head?
No, it didn't connect to the head. No.
Did it connect to the chest?
No.
I think
did it
caught
connect
arm.
anywhere?
I think it caught arm, maybe.
So, and I'm going to go back to what you said at the start of the game.
Right.
You said we needed to see some dislike. We needed to see some hate.
We got that.
Now we got that in this series, right? I think we got America's attention. I think we got the world's attention. We may have a series now. Now, if you go start throwing people out and everything else, then it gets kind of, let the hate build up. Let people come out and keep competing.
Let the hate build up.
Let people come out and keep competing.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Let them keep coming out and competing. Yes.